It's a new day.
Welcome back. We have such a good audience today. We appreciate it. Welcome back to New Day Northwest. Today we're talking about empathy and how we as parents or grandparents can help keep it alive in ourselves and in our children. There was an article recently in the New York Times that quoted a study from the University of Michigan saying that college students today are 40% less empathetic than those of 30 years ago. So if this is true, what can we do about it? How do we shore up the golden rule for all of us? So here to provide us with some thoughtful ideas is Reverend Robert V. Taylor. So happy to have you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You know, the study was interesting because they did ask kids a lot of different questions, and I can understand how they came to their findings. They said there was kind of a plunging amount of empathy as they measured it after the year 2000. I was a little surprised because it's not really my experience of young people, and yet it's concerning. So what are your ideas as a person who draws from all sorts of spiritual traditions and trying to keep empathy alive?
Well, I think the article in the study was really helpful data. It certainly doesn't connect with my experience of many young people, and yet several parents that I've spoken with since the study was published have said they weren't really surprised, just given what they see going on in schools and neighborhoods and so on. So I think it's a bit of this and a bit of that, as is, you know, much of life. And I think that I think we're all in this together. And so I think this is not so much a question about young people only, it's a question about who we are as adults, who we are as a human family. And I think that helps at least set a framework. I think that there are probably five steps, five things that are helpful to us.
Great, I'm taking good notes on this.
Good.
So the first one.
You know, I think, you know, the five are, you know, values, giving, service projects, the kind of stories we tell, and what we glean from other traditions. So I think in terms of values, we communicate those every single day to the young people who are in our orbit, our children, but the many other young people who are part of our lives and whose lives we are part of.
That's a good point, because our kids have friends. They spend a lot of time at our house.
Absolutely.
They're at church and they're at school and all the other places where we are.
Absolutely. Kids in the neighborhood, you know, in organizations that you volunteer for, kids who you might be godparents to, etc. So I think what we do, the values that we hold dear are conveyed often by what we do. One quick story about that. A woman volunteered in a shelter for homeless women, and she took, many years ago, her 3- or 4-year-old daughter with her, and their job was to prepare the evening meal and set up the cots. It was in a church hall. And she said, you know, the women in the shelter weren't interested in me. She said, I drove a relatively nice car. She said, I looked reasonably well dressed. But she said, they connected with my daughter. She said, they claimed her. They wanted to know where she went to school, if she had a home, who her friends were, what she was going to do with her life. And then this woman said, as we left the shelter, she said it was a very cold night, and her daughter said, it's really cold out here, Mom. Are there other women on the streets? And she said, you know, I've learned I have to be truthful. And so the answer was, yes, there are. And so they had some conversation about it. So I love that story because it's about values in action and engaging people in the doing and in the experience.
Well, let's talk about, and we have just a couple of minutes, but I want to make sure we touch on all of these 5 things. In values, you say it's good to celebrate family traditions. It doesn't, and this doesn't have to involve spiritual things or church things. This can be your school, your family, the 4th of July, but getting together, making sure we keep our connections alive with other people in our families. What's number 2?
I think it's about giving, and you know, there are many religious holidays from a variety of traditions that offer wonderful opportunities for parents and adults to talk about what's at the essence of those holidays and how you participate in perhaps giving to somebody else.
Sharing,
absolutely. And I think also as part of that, encouraging the uniqueness of young people. There's a young man headed off to a baseball camp in the Dominican Republic. Baseball is his passion. It's not necessarily serving in a soup kitchen, but he's going to be transformed by that experience.
Exactly. What's number 3?
I think number 3 is service projects.
And obviously that's something we can model for our kids as well as them getting involved and doing things as a family.
Well, I think there are all of those opportunities, and I think it's important too to be alert to the seemingly silly idea that your child might come up with. A friend's child said, "Gee, Mom, can we take peanut butter and honey sandwiches to a homeless camp?" And, you know, the mom thought, well, they probably don't need or want peanut butter and honey sandwiches. But so they set a date to go, and they went to the grocery store and bought things, and so it became this wonderful learning experience, but the parent was being led by the child.
Which is always a good idea in encouraging their idea of giving and generosity. What's number 4?
I think it's the telling of stories. Our lives are filled with stories. My own life has been enriched by those from so many adults who've taken time to just sort of take me under their wing, and I'm richer for it. And we have opportunities to tell those every day.
And then just finally, number 5?
Number 5 is gleaning. What do we glean from other traditions? You know, compassion and happiness for all people within Buddhism. How does that connect with, you know, love and peace within Christianity? Or what we might learn from the fast of Ramadan that Muslims participate in? Lots and lots of opportunities to learn and to be enriched by those lively and life-giving traditions.
Those are great ideas from both the spiritual and the secular worlds. Robert, thank you so very much. Last week, by the way, Robert Taylor and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, his good friend, participated in an hour-long conversation on Unity FM. I listened to it. It's fantastic. If you want to listen to it, it's on our website. I really recommend it if you'd like a lift in your day, king5.com/newday. You can also sign up for Reverend Taylor's free weekly e-newsletter called The Wake Up Call. It is a great spiritual boost. I think you'll enjoy it. I do. Thank you so much for being with us. We're going to be back in just a moment with some cool gadgets for kids. We'll be right back.